Liverpool need 1 point this Sunday against Tottenham to be crowned Premier League champions. And don't get me wrong, that will be a bloodbath. Arsenal drew 2-2 tonight, Desmond with Crystal Palace. And mark my words, Oliver Glasner, some of the football Palace play, that Eze goal was a joke. But Jean-Philippe Mateta, that goal is absolutely ridiculous. Arsenal fans will probably feel a little bit in the dumps tonight. But look on the bright side. You got 6 days to rest, rejuvenate, recover, and then it's up against PSG. And if they go and beat PSG 2-3-4, 1-0 and get through to the finals, no Arsenal fan in the slightest is going to give 2 shits about drawing against Crystal Palace. Don't get me wrong. It will hand Liverpool the league title, knowing the fact they've got 1 point to get in the next 5 games. And they're playing a team right now that's more open at the back than Bonnie fucking Blue, who right now we are so bad in the Premier League, it's actually hilarious. It's going to be a bit of a kick in the teeth, the fact that Arne Slot's going to win the league title in his first season. I predicted this to be Arsenal's year. A lot of people thought it would be Arsenal's year, but for many reasons, they aren't Premier League champions. When you draw 13 Premier League games, it's very, very difficult to win a league title drawing that many games. Let's just give some praise to Liverpool. They have been absolutely flawless this season. Other than 2 defeats against Forest and Fulham, they've been the best team. Arsenal tonight played Crystal Palace, in which I actually really enjoyed the game. And I know a lot of people might have thought it was a bit boring. You saw some great football there. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you go and check out the transfer video earlier. We covered Ange potentially being replaced by Scott Parker, Dean Huijsen to Chelsea, Cunha to Manchester United, Zubimendi and Gyökeres to Arsenal. Go and check that out. And make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We're absolutely steamrolling our way. Under 500 subscribers away from 52K. Yes, you, if you haven't already subscribed, please do that. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2. I'll be honest, I thought Crystal Palace held a really good account of themselves. This game for me, from looking at it from both perspectives, was getting through to both teams' semi-finals without any injuries and at least holding a good account of themselves. Crystal Palace scored some really good goals. Arsenal today, I don't understand maybe risking Lewis Skelly, maybe risking Saliba playing 90 minutes. I guess the fact that they haven't got a game for 6 days and as well PSG play at the weekend, I guess that's one way of looking at it. PSG have already been crowned Premier League champions, I believe, or they're pretty much 1 win away from being crowned Premier League champions. They do have Nice on Friday, and then, of course, they've got Arsenal on Tuesday away. And this Arsenal team have already beaten PSG this season. They actually got off to a brilliant start. That man again, Kiwior, another decent performance from him, a really good block. Martin Ødegaard with a delicious free kick into a dangerous area. And it's a bullet header from Kiwior. It's nearly at the penalty spot. It's about a 12, 13-yard header. It's a really good header. Declan Rice with another 90 on the clock as well. Trossard and Martinelli with another 90 on the clock. I don't get why Mikel Arteta decided to play Raheem Sterling. I thought maybe he would have gone with I'd imagine an Ethan Nwaneri probably would have benefited more from this game. He's a better player. Let's just be brutally honest. He needs more minutes than Sterling does, and he's actually going to be an Arsenal player in the summer. Sterling will probably be sent back to Chelsea. But they did start with a front three of Sterling, Trossard and Martinelli. Trossard keeping up his goal-scoring form. But you know what? We got huge props to Crystal Palace. I really like a lot of these Palace players. Muniz is a really good attacking wing-back. Really works well in this Oliver Glasner system. I like the back three. I'm not a huge fan of Jeffrey Lerma, though. But I do like Lacroix and Gahey. Mitchell is a good player. Eze's goal, we'll get onto that in a minute, was an absolute joke. Wharton as well is a really good player. And look at the bench. They've got a threat off the bench. They've got Ismail Assar and Jean-Philippe Mateta in the best form of his career. 17th goal of the season, 14th goal in the league. And both of the Crystal Palace goals were absolutely unbelievable. The first Crystal Palace goal come from an Adam Wharton corner towards the edge of the box, and there's like Eze waiting with so much space. It reminded you of like a Steven Gerrard volley against Man City all those years ago at the Etihad, or a Paul Scholes against Aston Villa, or a Paul Scholes in the Champions League, or Paul Scholes at any point in his career, just running onto it and kind of half volleys it off the post and in the back of the net. And it's a really, really good volley. It really, really is. I don't think you can really take much away from, don't get me wrong, Arsenal probably should have closed that down a lot quicker, but take nothing away from the strike. That was absolutely glorious. Glorious goal. And then Arsenal did respond right before half time. And it's that man again, Leandro Trossard, who's was in stupidly good goal scoring form. I think that's 3 or 4 goals these last 3 or 4 games. Really having a good season for Arsenal. He scores right before half time. Timber, Arsenal retake the lead with half time looming. Timber threads a superb pass inside Trossard, who drops a shoulder to beat Lerma, and then he shoots. He gets deflected off Lacroix, and it goes past Dean Henderson into the bottom corner to make it 2-1. Arsenal had an XG of something like, Crystal Palace had an XG of something like 1.18. Meanwhile, Arsenal's is only 0.22. But it was, of course, Arsenal that were in front. 4 really good goals, I'm not going to lie. The Jean-Philippe Mateta goal we'll get onto in a minute. But like I said, the main focus for Crystal Palace's perspective, was coming out of this game not being battered and not picking up any injuries, knowing the fact that they will have to play Aston Villa on Saturday in the FA Cup semi-final. And if Crystal Palace get through to the final, I mean, this season you potentially could have, if Forest knock out City, you'd have none of the Big Six winning the League Cup, none of the Big Six winning the FA Cup, and you might have, you've only got Arsenal left in the Champions League in English sides. You've only got Tottenham and Man United left in the Europa League. Of course, they were the 2 teams that started, and you've got Chelsea in the Conference League. I mean, in terms of trophies this season, the fact that Man United and Spurs, of how bad they've been, are in the Europa League semi-final is just absolutely hilarious. And of course, Newcastle won the League Cup. In the second half, Crystal Palace, the last 15 minutes, really turned it on. They're a threat on the counter. When you've got Ismail Assar, Eze, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Muniz, I would take all 4 of those players. And I think comfortably right now, all 4 of those players start for Spurs. And let's just be brutally honest, they do. David Raya played it out for Palace's goal to Saliba, who gave the ball away. David Raya all game was off his line, but the finish from Jean-Philippe Mateta was absolutely stupid. It's one of the best goals you will see all season. Lobs David Raya to get his 14th goal in 33 games in the league with 2 assists, 2 goals away from equaling his best tally of last season. And this season, he's got 3 goals in the League Cup, and he's got, in terms of the FA Cup, I think this season, he's got 2 goals. So Jean-Philippe Mateta this season, 16 or 17 goals with 4 assists, 21 GA for Crystal Palace is a really, really good return. And I hope Crystal Palace really go on and win that FA Cup. Their fans have had a lot of pain throughout their lives. They obviously have got Aston Villa at the weekend. Then they play Nottingham Forest on the following Mondays. They've got a long time off to rest and rejuvenate, the same as Forest have as well. And then they play Spurs. So they could actually have a really good end to the season, because let's be honest, they'll beat us. That's how bad we are. But as it stands right now, Crystal Palace are, they're 12th. They win a couple of games and they're right up to 8th. And if either Man United or Spurs win the Europa League, I think that position comes down. So Crystal Palace could even finish Conference League if Chelsea win that. In terms of Arsenal, it's all about getting to that PSG game without any injuries and just hoping that everything is where you want it to be. I look at the Arsenal this season. I think they should have won the league. I'm not going to lie. You know, Arsenal, the Arsenal games this season they've drawn have been so sloppy. So sloppy. We are going to do a video tomorrow morning about Liverpool being crowned champions this weekend. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I will see you all soon. I am out.